You've learned how to do the elusive poi cap. Now, what comes next? Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, bringing you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today I am sharing with you several variations that you can do on the traditional C-cap poi pattern. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow DNA, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these amazing companies and the work that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. So, I guess y'all like this idea. The response to the last What Comes Next video was fantastic, so now here I am with another one. Now this video was one of several that was requested by Justin Coleman, and it should be said that this was a video that I already had queued up if the previous video was successful. So, great guess there, Justin, well done. And if you are just tuning in, the theory behind this series is that I want to do something that is somewhere between a combo and a tutorial, in that sometimes when you learn a new trick, you don't know what exactly you can do with it, what variations there might be out there, or what ways that you can embellish it. So the theory here is that once you have learned the trick in question, I am going to show you some new things that you can now access thanks to it. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what we do next once we learn how to do our C-caps. So one of my favorite tricks of all time that you can do with a C-cap is what I'm going to call the overhead cap. Basically, this is a trick that kind of feels equal parts Mercedes as well as cap, and quite frankly is going to require you to kind of get comfortable with these movements in wall plane as well as wheel plane. I don't actually remember where I first picked this up from, but at one point there was a series of videos going back and forth on YouTube between myself and Christian Medina trying to come up with all of the clever ways that we could find to integrate this into other tricks and poi combos. This, incidentally, is how I learned Zan's Diamond accidentally, as it turned out. And it also led to a multi-year puzzle for me because I would transition back and forth between the Mercedes into this particular pattern, which was really confusing to me because a Mercedes has 3 pedals, and this cap going back and forth really has 4 pedals. So how exactly does that work? Well, it turned out that the key lay in the fact that they both had that top pedal, and that whenever I was going through that, I was really switching back and forth between the two. You would not believe how many crazy mathematical theories I went through before I finally found that. It's a classic, but I would argue it has never gone out of style. I still use it constantly, and in fact, you may or may not find that in an upcoming poi combo. Next up, a cap variant that doesn't really have a name, but that for our purposes, I'm going to call the breakaway. So this is one of my favorite cap variants because there's something about it to me that almost feels like dissonant music all of a sudden coming together into something that feels a lot more consonant. Like in my head, this feels very much like the bridge of that Deftones song, Change in the House of the Flies, when they go down to that F in the bridge and everything. There's just something about having the 2 hands come together out of an extension into a cap off to the side and everything that just feels that lovely to me in that same way. Think that this really comes out of taking extensions back and forth and together opposites in wheel plane. And when they meet together at the top, you can do a little cap back and forth. The way that the poi and hands come together in this just feels so satisfying to me in a way I find incredibly difficult to explain to other people. But hey, perhaps I can just say that it looks cool to me. Bonus points if you can go back and forth doing the cap on your right side versus your left side. And again, really think about this happening in a wheel plane kind of place, and it's going to save you a lot of misery when trying to learn it. There's a similar variant where you're coming up from the bottom rather than coming down from the top. And I want to say I learned this variant from either G or Alien John back in the day. Truth be told, I don't remember. But either which way, I prefer the top-down approach. All right, and that will take us to our final variant, which I will admit there were a lot of options for this, and I had a hard time choosing between them. But I think when it came right down to it, the best one I could come up with was the one that involved the most useful thing that I could do in wall plane, and that was being able to switch back and forth between extension and anti-spin in split time same direction. I've talked about this pattern before as simply being a wall plane split time same direction flower. before, but that's really kind of simplifying it to a point that I think doesn't give it enough credit. This is really a cap that goes back and forth and solves one of the biggest problems that we have with split time same direction. Namely that it's really, really hard to do it in wall plane because our arms would otherwise tangle past each other. Now, using this cap, we can go back and forth and not only create a really, really cool looking pattern out of it, but also I would argue we can use split time same direction in a place that would otherwise be really difficult. There's also just such a great dynamic feel that comes from going from the anti-spin direction into the extension direction that just feels like a volume change in a way that is kind of hard to explain, but really cool to watch. I don't know, y'all get that same feeling from it? You don't technically have to know how to do a cap in order to make this particular pattern work, but I do think that understanding that it's a cap really does help with the understanding of what's going on underneath the pattern and everything. And, you know, it never hurts to know a little theory, right? So, those were 3 options for what comes next after you learn caps. What was your favorite version? Let me know down in the comments. And also, let me know if you have a request for a trick that you would like to see me do for a future edition of What Comes Next. Which variant of this trick was your favorite? Let me know by recording your own version of it and posting video. Also, make sure to tag me, whether you post it to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, what have you. I would love to see your version of this. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, both to help other people find this video as well as help my channel grow. And of course, a huge thank you, because this video would not be possible without the kind contributions of these wonderful folks right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the wonderful people I've got listed down in the description, helps make this video as well as all the videos on this channel possible. If you would like to sign up to support this work that I'm doing, bringing the love of poi spinning and flow arts to the wider world and helping people learn to connect with their bodies and their brains, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and signing up. There you can get early access to all of my content, as well as a say in what topics I tackle in the future, plus some great extras and behind the scenes content as well. So go check that out. Please and thank you. What tricks would you like to see me cover in future editions of this series? I am taking requests. Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you will see a lovely little link pop up that will lead you to a playlist of other videos in this series if you want to check out some other possibilities of what comes next after you learn specific tricks. Either which way, have yourself a great weekend. Make sure and get out and flow, and I will see you with a new video on Monday. Peace.